Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Sapna. I'm part of the admissions team at Azim Premji University. So, as you know, Azim Premji University offers postgraduate courses in education, development, public policy, um, economics, and law. Right. So, MA Education is our one of our flagship programs in the postgraduate area, and we've received a lot of queries around what to do after MA education. So that is a question in everybody's mind. It's sort of an atypical course. It's not a very common course that is offered by everyone. So the question is valid. So today we have Subrat Mishra, who heads the placement office at Azim Premji University. So he is responsible for getting all MA education students as well as all the other postgraduate students at Azim Premji University one or more jobs at the end of their course. So today he's going to take us through the opportunities that students can have after MA education, how to prepare for those, how to choose, what we've been doing so far, and then we will also take questions from the audience right at the end of it. So you are welcome to write it in the comment box. We'll take up all the questions at the end. Over to you, Subrat.
Thank you so much, Sapna. Yes. So once again, I'm glad to coming back to this platform to interact with applicants and students. Like yesterday, we was talking about a lot of postgraduate students, and this today's session is mostly for our upcoming MA education batch or prospective education students. So, thank you everybody for joining this call. As Sapna introduced myself, I am Subrat. I am part of the placement cell of Azim Premji University. So, today's session is not just about what kind of jobs or roles absolutely available. Yes, that information will be there. Before that, I would like to also explain a bit of the education sector to all of you, those who are on the call, because we need to understand why education sector is a needy sector. It's a need. What are its requirement? How we should look at it, and why should we should see education as the need of an hour. Yeah. So to go ahead with this, I will run a small presentation along with along as I talk. So let me allow to share this in a second now. I'm trying. Okay. Yes, I think this is visible to all of you. So, careers in education sector. When we say education sector, what does this education sector means, or what does when we hear about education sector, what that comes to our mind? Yeah? So the moment we ask this, then immediately the image of maybe a classroom may be coming to our mind, to our imagination. Yeah. So when we say education sector or education, automatically the scene of a classroom comes into our mind. So when there's a uh, about classroom, when we say classroom or school, I think my PPT got stopped. Yes, yeah. So when we say about education, suddenly these things come to our mind. So we visualize a school, we visualize a classroom, a teacher with or without cane in his or her hand, and some students. Yeah. So that's what whenever we hear the word education, automatically this comes to our mind. But is this really the complete definition of education? So I would say yes, it is partially correct, but not fully. Yeah. And why I should not? I would say it is not fully correct because education or education sector is much more beyond these simple physical structures or few elements into it. Then when I'm saying that it is not complete, let's rethink about this education sector one more time, and a different image may come up. And I'm trying to show what it should come up with when we say this. So when we are talking about education, it's not just about a school or a classroom teaching. It has got a lot of other variety of into it. Like yes, school, classroom, teacher, students, books, blackboard, uniform, playground, toilet, water sanitation, meal, curriculum, timetable, different grades such as say preschool, primary school, elementary, secondary, high or so. Then the governance, the Department of Education, like diet, DEOs, BEOs, the whole education system, the school board, like state boards or national boards like CBSE, ICC, even international boards, different teachers, subject specific teachers, head teacher or academic administrators, the teaching pattern or methodology or pedagogy that is followed in this class, the teaching learning materials are used to give a proper teaching, the scientific laboratory, the library set of books, yeah, or even in the arts and crafts and drawing on the walls. So all these should come into our mind, and all these are part of the whole education sector ecosystem. One important factor where is also connected to this system is that the parents and the community. And why we should say parents? Because the children or the school students who are taking part, they are coming from some or other family. So the family background, their socio-economic setup, their caste dynamics, all this come into play when we say that, when we talk about a sector as a education. Yeah. So all the components that I am right now showing to you, all this play a major role when we define education sector. So the ecosystem of education is actually a universe in itself. So when we usually see that education is part of development, education is itself a bigger subject that to be kept sometime outside development, or sometime within the development. It's a universe in itself. So why then we need to talk about it? Because education, as we feel that education, we have already, we have many times we have heard these statements like education liberates, it sets you free, education gives you knowledge, the education is the path to development, and so many kind of philosophical statements we have heard in our life. But let's see that how we can see this education in our country right now. The scenario of education is very different. As even as today, 50% of girls are dropping out of school by 8th standard. I mean, you can say one out of two. Higher education is in greater pathetic condition than primary or secondary education. Primary secondary education is also it's not so good, but higher education is even worse. Most of our teaching methodologies, or you say pedagogy, is not learning friendly, so it doesn't feed to the creativity of our students. Evaluation methods are sometimes threatening, not progressive. Our curriculum is not inclusive, it doesn't allow all types of child needs. School buildings are not comfortable for any child with disability, or even a young person with disability. They are not accessible, or we can also say barrier free. Teachers are also not quite equipped with to handle diversity, because in a classroom or in a setup of 30 or 50 students, not all will come with the same background. There will be different background to all of them. But catering to all type of the diversity, our teaching system or teachers are not equipped for it. And though there are several programs and policies are being formulated and implemented, like elementary free education till age of 18, or Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, or what, of course, the present NEP is trying to cover a lot of the gaps. But till now, the programs and policies are not well performing. Yeah. So all these issues, all these factors around, how can we actually use education to build our nation, or how can we go ahead to become a developed nation? So these are the questions we should be addressing when we are talking about the education sector. So when we say education for nation building, this sector is so vast and complex, because like I was showing a few slides earlier, a lot of factors around it. So it is so vast and complex, and also interconnected. So to address it, it cannot be addressed by one person or a few person. It needs a lot of educationists, or a sea of educationists, or educational professionals who can be productively engaged into this sector to improve the quality. And Ajim Premji is an institute, like Sapna was also saying in the beginning. Ajim Premji It's an institute that has pioneered in education. Ajim Premji University has taken birth after Ajim Premji Foundation's work in the education sector for more than a decade. So there has been immense learning based on which the university has been configured. And under this university, our MA education program is one of the pioneer program that we have. And like I said, this university wants people like you to prepare you for the sector. And this sector, though all sort of challenging situation, it is going to give you immense satisfaction. And it is only you being part of the sector can make the difference, can improve the situation of education in this country. Then we can talk about our developed nation building process. Being you, I often used three words. What is that going to define you? You or the development practitioner or education sector practitioner. You need three things within yourself. One is hunar, which is your skill, your understanding. Another is hosla, which is your commitment, your conviction. And third is junun, which is your passion. So combining of these all three, your hunar, hosla, and junun, any person can step into the sector as a reflective practitioner and contribute productively to it. Yeah. So if all this need to be done and all this should be done, then how can the Ajim Premji University help you in doing this? So, in addition to our highly qualified and extremely experienced faculties and teaching faculties and methodologies, which will make definitely you turn into a reflective practitioner with deep insights and thoughts, we have a support that is being provided by the placement cell. So we have an active placement cell which is going to provide you career opportunities in this sector. One way, we are going to provide you ample learning space so that you gain confidence, knowledge, skill to be equipped in the sector. And on the other hand, or in addition to it, there is an active placement cell that is going to bridge the uh, universe between the university and your professional career. So our placement cell, it's very active, which right now I am heading up to. So I have used the term hyperactive. Sometimes, of course, we are hyperactive. We are growing. We are going year and year after. So in the very first batch in 2011, we had only close to 100 students from two programs. Now we have close to 500 students in our post graduation program, and then 500 from our undergraduate programs. We'll be still growing ahead as we grow in the size of our students and the different under different programs. The placement cell is also growing to cater its needs, cater all the students needs, and it is ever expanding further in terms of reaching out to different and more number of organizations who can take part in placement, expanding in terms of preparing our students to be properly settled in the social sector, and also expanding to bridge more and more connections with the sector, alumni, and the university. Point number five, the placement cell has a strong and meticulous process that takes care of the students' need, that fulfills some of the students' preparation requirements, and also host organization on campus to run a smooth and successful placement process. And we have been very successful, been doing so for the last several years, and we can proudly say that we have outstanding outputs every year and year after. And how I'm going to explain my outstanding outputs, I'll show you in my next couple of slides where you will see some of the numbers, facts, and figures. So this growth of the placement cell of the university has been a decade long, and it is growing year and year after. From the very first batch, where a small number of students were there who went out to the sector, through them we reached out to a lot of some of the organizations. Through them, we further reached out to more number of students, more number of engagements on campus, then more number of alumni is going out and reaching out to further number of organizations. So it's a snowballing process. I use this terminology, snowballing process, because if you imagine that you throw a small ball of snow from top of a snow mountain, it will roll fast and it will grow in its speed, size, and density. That's what is called snowballing process. So we have been growing year and year after. Right now in our field, we have 2,500 plus strong alumni network who are working exceptionally across the country on several themes. Through them and from the approach of the placement cell independently, we have been successful in expanding our organization base with getting newer, bigger, and challenging roles with higher compensations and better salary packages to our students, and it is growing year and year after. That's why I mentioned as a snowballing process. So now, if I say all these things are happening, how it looks like on ground or in terms of numbers or facts and figures. Let me show you how we have done in the year of 2021. 2021, which was COVID hit year, our classes went online, the placement process went online, the organizations were suffering with funding issues and lot of other things. Even in that year, we were successful to make considerable impact in number of our placement achievements. So, like I was saying earlier, we have student preparation. So, beyond your classroom engagements, we prepare students on understanding the sector, gaining functional skills, even such as like data handling skills, or interpersonal skills such as interviewing skills, English language support skills, uh, writing skills. Yeah, all such kind of thing, all such kind of orientations and trainings we do provide. Then we reach out to organizations. We had reached out to close to 3,000 plus organizations in 2021 so that we could invite them on campus. Then there were close to 100 organizations on campus, precisely 94, which included lot of type of organization, among which a large chunk was schools and not-for-profits, where largely our education students are presently engaged. And there are these specific roles are across the programs specific to education. You can see there are teaching roles, there is academic administration roles, there are curriculum development roles, developer roles, and so on. Yeah, even program management. Program management is where the person is connecting directly with the community towards implementation of a program, maybe education based or maybe any other theme based. So our students from this same 2021 passing out batch has been working almost all part of the country. You can see from the map, and they are a majority of them are at the grassroots, working at directly with the community, directly at the panchayat or village level. And there are other sets who are working at a higher level also. In terms of the salary or compensation, you might be thinking that okay, if this the expansion, what kind of salary somebody should be expecting working from here? This salary is something about all the master's program, but specific to education, I can say it remains in the same time line as you have been seeing here. The highest is close to 8 lakhs. A few of our students could fetch, and then there are median or average prices. So it includes all programs, and it is true also for the education program that we go for. Let me give you a small slide where you can see how the placement cell has been growing and inflating itself to meet students' needs and demands. So this is the growth story. Like that's a 10-year-old growth story, but I'm just showing for the last 5 years. You can see the number of organizations have kind of doubled compared to 2017 and then 2022. And let me say that 2022 placement process is right now going on. It is not yet complete. So the number may increase further, which I'm saying 108 number of organizations. And there are hundreds of offers available for our students. The salary packages and higher salary, you can see it is also growing year and year after to a reasonable and decent salary range. And this salary are largely for the freshers, freshers means 0 to 1 year experienced students. Yeah, of course there are also positions available for experienced students. Depending on their experience, the salary and the role may differ. And you can see our placement has been very successful. When we say that we have an outstanding output year and year after, we have been successful to place almost everybody, those who take part in the placement process. And last year, even in the COVID year, we could reach 100%. So that's how we I can say that consistently it's around 97, 98% all the year. Yeah. So that's example of last 5 years. Now let us see how our placement 2022, which is right now going on, we are just in the very first week of it. So if you can see the opportunities available for our students on campus for this year, you can see that's a significant change compared to all previous years. So like I was saying earlier, there are 108 organizations registered. Among those, 76 organizations are open for our education students, including B.Eds. So if you specifically look for our B.Ed students, then there are 23 which have opening or opportunity for B.Ed students. B.Ed and education are two different programs. Education program is more about developing the education perspective, understanding the education scenario in our country. But B.Ed is an absolute teacher training program. That's where the difference lies. And with this number of organizations, the number of possible offers for our education students are presently 324. And we might be surprised to know that our education batch, present batch, which is passing out in 2022, batch size is only 130, 130, something around that. So for each person, there is more than one offer available. Yeah. And for the B.Ed, even it is even better that the B.Ed batch, which is close to 25, for them the offer number of possible offers available are 121. So if one person can attempt, then he or she may get even 3 to 4 or 5 offers. So that's where you should see that the availability of opportunities across the education sector, and you should feel encouraged to be part of it. And then type of roles, as I have said earlier, for our education students, there are multiple roles within a school setup, outside the school setup, in governance or in policy or in program management. But for B.Ed, it is largely in a school setup, and the designations are there, so I'm not repeating. These organizations are not only looking for freshers, these are also looking for people with experiences if they have. And if you see, almost one out of three organization is open for professionals or education professionals with experience. And so for B.Ed, it is close to 12%. I mean, one out of eight school or organization is looking forward to B.Ed with experience. So that's how the placement 2022 looks like. And we, as I'm saying, that we have been growing. The scenario is only going to get better with all the upcoming years. So here, if we just make a bottom statement, that our final statement, that for each of our students, in addition to the quality of education they get, the placement cell provides them a better platform to get engaged into the professional sector. Each student can get and are getting, each student is getting a good offer from the campus through the placement cell, and the example is just in front of you. A couple of examples of this year's organization, very specific to education. If you look, there are multiple schools, regular schools, inclusive schools, special schools, international schools, and organizations who are working in the sector of education in different domains, like engaging with community, or engaging with government, or engaging in skill building, or engaging in any sort of high level of engagement as curriculum developer, or policy maker, or such kind of thing. These are the examples, and there are many more. I'm just giving you a couple of examples here because the one slide can only control this. And the schools or organizations are coming across the country. They are not just from Bangalore, even though we are at Bangalore, but the organizations are from Kerala, from Delhi, from Mumbai, from a different part of the country, like from maybe from Odisha, Bihar, yeah, even from Bangalore. All locations, you name the location and the organization is here, and the school is here. So that level of opportunities are available, and which is enough or more than enough for any of number of students we have on campus. Finally, before we get into the question answer session, I would like to spend some more time there so that I can answer your specific questions. So this sector is not just a job, yeah. It is a commitment that we expect from the sector expects from all of the people who are going to be part of it. And when I say we are responsible, I am saying we means Ajim Premji University. We are responsible for it. We are committed and progressive towards it. But only with these two, you may not be able to complete the journey. So to be part of this sector and or to be part of this whole journey, you need to bring your own skill sets and own attitudes. When I say you need to come with, you need to build your academic understanding. As you are part of this program, you will be exposed to a lot of academic academic philosophies. You need to build on that. You will have chance to build your field experiences because there are integrated field engagements into it, which will give you understanding of the contemporary or real life situations, and then preparing cell for the sector, where the placement cell is going to give you a top up of addition to it. All this combining, you are expected to become ready for the sector, and there will be a rewarding and fulfilling career awaiting for you in the education sector and overall social sector. So this brings to the end of the slide, and I hope I am able to make you understand how the program education programs are being unfolded in our university, and what kind of career opportunities are available, and how placement cell is going to help you in getting all those. So I'll pause here. I'll close this slide right now, and we can now take on the questions based on your thoughts and queries.
Thank you, Subrat.
Yeah,
That was
please.
very, very clear and very encouraging. And I'm sure, although it covered a lot of points, I'm sure the people who are watching, they have some more questions. We'll start with a very basic one, that is fluency in English necessary for these jobs?
Yes, to some extent, for sure, but not all the time compulsory. And just to take this question little ahead, let me tell you that the university welcomes all students from all regions of the country, and in our each batch there is representation from 25 states, minimum 25 states, and not all of them are English, fluent in English. So we have an internal system where we identify such kind of people who are not so good in English and help them gathering knowledge and skill around it. That program is very specific credited program. So you will get certain credit out of it, and this program is aimed to support, and it has been very successfully supporting roughly 70 to 80 students every year with every batch. Post that, there will be further support from the schools and faculties, and by the time you come to the placement process, we are sure that you will be in a decent position to engage or converse in English. Even post that, if you do not have, I'm sorry, you will still be comfortable in maneuvering through placement process. We have no reservation around it, and there are many organizations also who prefer regional language than English language. So, not knowing English absolutely, yes, that could be a problem. Knowing some English is okay, and better English is even better. Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that answers it very well, because I guess these days a lot of work, office work, is done in English and a combination of languages, the local language there in
yeah,
English. So while it is essential to know English, it is also important to know a couple of local languages very well. So, in
absolutely.
fact, as part of our entrance exam, we do have a language test, and English, Hindi, or Kannada is required
Yeah,
to pass the test.
yes,
Anyway, so the
certainly.
next question is, and I guess I'll just split it into two. Will we have field visits during the course, and how do these join up? Like providing experience for the job that we are applying, or getting a job in the field work that we were interested in, whichever way.
Yeah.
So, you wanted to
I
add
think
on
this
that?
is a very, very good question, very insightful question. So yes, your each of the master's program, and as you are talking about largely about MA education or even B.Ed, All these programs have integrated field engagements. Let me give you an example of the Master of Education program. So there will be three specific field engagements. Starting first one will be in your first semester, which we call immersion. It is just an exposure to the education system and the social sector outside or rural setting outside. Following that, one more field engagement will come, which is going to be your 3 week engagement. Uh, just at the end of your second semester, that is between second and third semester in the summer breaks, where you will get into further one more level to understand what a education or school system functions. Then the final one is going to be the longest one, which is a 3 month long or says 12 to 13 week long, which usually starts by middle of your third semester and goes till beginning of fourth semester, meaning it may be around sometimes September to December or January mid, that kind of length. Completely 90 days to 100 days, the person is going to be spending time in the field working with an organization to practice and to understand one or other concept of education. Those details when you are on the program you will come to know, so I am not expanding too much here. So combining all these three are one step ahead of one another. Like the first one is immersion, just to give a sense of the sector or the rural setting. Second one is trying to understand the education setup or a school. Third one is getting into slightly deeper a research or deeper understanding about one concept within education. So if somebody is doing it, I mean, this is credited and mandated, so everybody has to do it. Nobody can skip. And if somebody does it in a synchronized way, like a connected theme, then definitely that is going to help the person in the placement process so that he or she can establish that theme in a better way to the recruiter. But it's not necessary. You can choose also different themes and different sets of field engagement. Doing a good field engagement actually gives a deeper understanding of the real world outside. When we talk in the class, not every learning can come from the books. One has to learn from the experiences, and experiences cannot be shared within classrooms. Yeah, so experience one has to live it. So if somebody lives it well or gets the experience well, definitely, as we have seen year and year after, that gives an advantage those who do not have that experience. So we strongly encourage our students, as we mandate, but we strongly encourage our students to go for a tougher role, tougher location, tougher theme, so that they understand a deeper, make a deeper understanding, and that can be engaged, utilized in the placement process. And organizations look forward to such kind of understanding. So the more you know about field engagements or practical life, it's always easy for you to get placed in the first, with a certain advantage. Yeah.
Thank you, Subrat. Yeah, that was very well. So the how the courses combine the field visits and the practicums and the practical part of the course with the curriculum, that is important, and that leads to higher
Yes.
qualification for the
Yes.
job.
Yes.
Very, this
Yes.
was very useful.
Yeah.
Another question, I guess, slightly related is: are the jobs in big cities, or they are in smaller towns only?
No, it is everywhere. I was showing a small India map in third or
Yeah.
fourth slide. It is available. I mean, jobs are available everywhere. So you might be land you if and it's based on your interest and your skill sets, of course. So if somebody wishes to work with a very much, Ekal school kind of a single teacher school somewhere in deep Assam, that's also possible. If you wish to work with the urban slum children in Mumbai metro, that's also possible. If you wish to work with a organization working in Bhopal, building curriculum or pedagogy or good textbooks, that's also possible. If you wish to even work with the departments, the diets or teacher training institutes, that's also possible. So your location will be specific to the role you are going to choose for, and it is available everywhere. So need not we are not here to kind of filter between which you should go and which you should not. Our objective is to give you the right perspective about education, and you are free to choose where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah. This is like, yeah, this is very encouraging that they are available all over India in in all sizes of cities, in all types of organizations, small, big,
Yes.
large, government, non-government, private,
Yes. Yes.
NGO, non-NGO, every type of
Absolutely.
organization. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is very encouraging. There is a very specific question that I've chosen social studies and language as the subjects for MA education. So what type of roles can I get? So because MA education now they have to choose two out of five, right? Out of science, maths, social
Yeah.
studies,
Yes.
grammar, and early childhood education.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's chosen these two. So what kind of role can he get? He, she. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, then with these two specific things also one can go to different dimensions. So, if you are into language teaching or language pedagogy, and there are positions, there are positions available. It can be one language based or overall how language can be used for better teaching or how language can be simplified for better teaching. That possibilities are available. You can be a subject specific expert or even a subject specific teacher. You can be a textbook creator. You can be a curriculum developer also. You can also be a methodology instructor, like I mean which language or which teaching methodology can be used. So there are a lot of things. You can be engaged in a school. You can engage at a higher level of organization which designs or conceptualize these practices, like how should be taught in a classroom, how what kind of curriculum we should be providing in our textbooks, what kind of languages we should be used, or how simplifies the language can be done. So at the philosophical or theoretical level, at a higher level, all or directly at the implementation level, where in a classroom setting or in a community setting, these have been administered. So it is absolutely a lot of positions are available even with these two very specific requirements.
Thank you, sir. That was good and clear. Now, there is another very specific question. As we know that Azim Premji Foundation itself comes to
Yeah.
hire as one of the
Yeah.
recruiters. So,
Yes.
what will be the starting payment for Azim Premji Foundation job? This is a little
Okay.
tricky one, but maybe we want to give them a range.
I'll give it. I will give it here only. So see, Azim Premji Foundation do come to university, and they are kind of the first recruiter on the campus. So usually we start with them. Yeah, so that's kind of a in-house settlement we have. So, but let me tell you, Azim Premji Foundation has three specific categories of enrollment. First, for the post-graduation programs, they take them as campus associates for freshers, of course. And the freshers' salary is this year is 4 lakhs, around 4 lakhs annual CTC, which is kind of increasing around 8 to 10% every year. So by the time you pass out, it would be you can calculate how much it would be. Ajim Premji Foundation also gives campus associate role to the undergraduate programs, which has a lesser CTC around 3.48, 3.5, 50,000 less than the postgraduate CTC. Ajim Premji Foundation also hires BSc BEd, our BEd students, which are at equivalent of the campus subset of master programs, so at the same 4 lakh package. But if somebody has some relevant experience, relevant means somebody has worked in the overall development sector or specific to education sector, at least for 2 to 3 years, then they are considered as senior positions. The term we use is lateral entry. That's for senior position, and depending on your experience and expertise, the salary packages are decided. In addition to it, let me tell you that Ajim Premji Foundation is not the only high value organization we have. There are several high value organizations which pay even double than the Ajim Premji Foundation. Yeah. So don't restrict yourself for this, but I just said in the for the sake of information. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Subrat. That was good. So the remember we had a language question on English fluency. So there's
Yeah.
a converse question that how important it is to be very fluent in the local language,
Yeah.
how important
Okay.
and how good it is for
Good.
the job. So
Good
and then there
question.
is another question saying I'm in a Hindi medium yes, educated student. Can I apply?
Yeah.
So I guess
Okay.
you can take
Okay.
all of
So
them together.
I'll combine both of them. Yes. So the when we say about if somebody is seeking about how the language, a local language is going to help getting absorbed into a organization or a specific role, Not many organizations on campus do demand for very specific language skills. Not many, but that's also a truth that some of the organizations do as well. For example, if there's a community-based organization or a school in Tamil Nadu working with Tamil children, of course, then definitely some fluency or some information about Tamil language is will be required. Similar, if something is in rural Karnataka, then Kannada is required, or in deep Maharashtra, Marathi could be required. But those are not very strict things, yeah. So when I say not all organizations, let's say that roughly 10 to 15% organizations demand such kind of things. Otherwise, generally, all organizations are fine with English as core, and then in addition to it, whatever like Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia, whatever, addition is all fine. Yeah. So language is not a great barrier in getting your right kind of opportunity. The other question, if somebody is asking, coming from either Hindi medium or any regional language medium, you have all the right and entitlement to apply. We have no language barrier here. Who will apply, who will not. You only need to go through the selection process, and the process can be further explained by Sapna because she is heading this whole process. She will put more light on it.
Yeah, I will take those questions on the admission related, on the timeline, etc. I was just trying to sort of address these questions, and then I will actually, while we wait for more questions to come, let me just give you a brief on the admission timeline and the process. So the admission forms are live now. So if you haven't completed your form or you haven't even started, I would advise that you fill it up now. It's a simple form. It has to be done online. So complete the form and apply. Only then you can write the test. The test is on 13th March, and the test will be online. So you don't have to come to a center. You can do it online. It will be proctored remotely, but you can write the test. The test will have two parts: the MCQ part, which will have questions in English, in quantitative ability, and in general awareness. And then there will be a descriptive portion, which will be linked to the subject you've chosen. So if you've chosen MA Education, the descriptive portion will be linked to MA Education, right? So, and in MA Education, like a student had asked, you have to choose 2 out of 5 possible areas, and that you can do at the form level. And if you clear the test, you call for the interview, which will also be online in all probability. And then the course starts in July, right? So I guess this sort of answers the admission related questions, right? So okay, there is a related question on apart from the two subjects we have selected, can we study one more subject in MA Education, like early childhood development? So actually, you will be studying a lot of subjects through your electives. The two preferences that we've asked for are basically to see that your education inputs are related to those. So, for instance, if you've chosen science and you've become an educator in that area, that's the idea. Otherwise, it's not that you will not study early childhood education or inclusive education or learning disability, a whole lot of or curriculum development or pedagogy development. You will study all of that as part of any education, right? So that is the question on the different subjects that you have to take, right? So that is done, and I hope this thing. Okay, so there is one more question: how will this program? And I think you sort of, Subrat, answered this, but this is a question: how will this program help me in rural areas? How can I work there?
Yeah, rightly said, Sapna. I was trying to explain that. Let me, if it is not very clear, I will add to that further. So, whether it is urban area, rural area, you can work anywhere. This program does not discriminate that way, and the skills you are going to get is not going to discriminate or put you into geography specific. In rural area, if I mean, if you are, I'm not sure which setup you are referring to. So, if you say in a rural area in a education or a school or education system, their demand could be different. Yeah, starting from a fragile school building to not availability of teacher or whatever it is. So, our focus is that our all programs equip for all the areas, rural, urban, grassroots, higher level. How it is going to help, it only depends on what kind of role you are going to do. But one thing I can assure you that this program is made to work you with people. So if the people are living in a rural area, you're going to be very comfortable doing that. You will understand the rural dynamics, the rural macro politics, the rural issues, the rural governance, the rural education system, the rural policies. All that you will learn here, as well as the urban setup or the overall policies or other things. So everything you are going to learn, you will be learning in terms of the society, the culture, or the country level. So it is equally applicable for any rural or urban area. So I think I can answer in that way, Max.
Okay, yeah, that's fair actually. And these days the boundaries are actually blurring.
Yeah,
So it's, the cities are expanding, or you can say the rural areas are sort of coming into the cities. So there is the boundaries are not very stark. The connectivity is there, the reach is there. So actually, we've seen that in a lot of that it's becoming a large urban sprawl rather than a clear distinction saying now the rural area starts. So
yeah,
that way,
yeah,
that's uh,
yeah,
I guess, yeah, if you're open, we can work anywhere.
yeah.
Okay, this question is interesting. I guess we touched upon this in our previous session too. Is there an age limit? And then I'm just adding to that, does it affect the chances of a job?
Okay, there is no age limit. First thing, yeah. So said that last session, yesterday's session also. Let me tell you that our highest, I mean, the most aged person in any batch is 50 plus person. Yeah. So 50, 55, 56. Those aged people are also in our every batch. So batch age is not a obstacle at all. Getting a job, it may work in favor of you, it may not also work in favor of you some of the times. Why I'm saying this? Because if your experience is in the sector, the social sector, I mean the experienced persons, then definitely this is going to give you a huge boost. This program is going to give you a super boost, and you can treat this program as a launching pad. It will throw you to sky. But if it is not from the sector, it's not a disadvantage. But your experience is going to be counted as an experienced person. But as you are not in the sector, then it can be considered as a, I mean, lesser experience than the real experience you have. But in any case, getting placed or getting placement self support, there is no restriction. We have no age limit to choose who will our student be, and all our students have equal rights and involvement in the placement process. And like I was saying a couple of slides earlier, there are several organizations coming to campus, at least 30% or 3 out of 1, who really look forward to people coming with some experience. And there has been examples every year. So you can stay assured if you are even with a higher experience, 5, 10, 18, 15, 20 years experience, this program is going add value to your life, not take anything away.
Yeah, yeah. Age no bar. Okay. I don't know whether you want to take this question, but there is somebody who's asked which has a more promising career, MA Education or MA in Public Policy and Governance.
Well, okay, so it's like I mean comparing
Apples and oranges.
two, yes, two different things. Yeah, that's very difficult to say. It okay. I can only say this way that whichever is your inclination, focus on that program. You may like to work with governance, policy research, secondary research, yeah, policy implementation, then public policy is the best program you can have. But for that you need to, if you have background in mathematics, science, statistics, economics, it's going to help you in great while you learn the public policy. Yeah. And public policy is a new program in India, not quite old. I mean it's some 5 7 years before we have started. Not in this university, I'm saying all across India. So, and there is ample scope available in private sectors, in corporate sectors, in government setups, that's available. But if you have really inclination towards education, because anything you attempt in this sector, it will go through education, yeah, because education or information or knowledge is the core of everything, and it depends on how you see education sector. So education sector also is growing like anything. Let me tell you, if I can compare you this way, I'll give you a little more confusion right now. Yeah, I'll make you a little more confused. Then you decide. This year's at present, the highest salary getters are from education and public policy. So they have the people have actually got highest salary, one from education, one from public policy, and both had the same salary scale. So you decide which part you want to go. It depends on your inclination. That much I can only say. And the scope is available to the sky level in both.
Yeah. Yeah, to each his own. Yeah, all our courses are positioned uniquely, and you have to decide looking at the course content, etc. Right? Okay. There is a question which I think I can answer. You can help me answer. That many institutions don't accept online certificate courses in foreign countries. So, is this course will it be helpful in getting job in Gulf countries? So it's like, first of all, this is not a certificate course, this is a degree course. This is a proper 2 year course with a degree at the end. It is, the course is not online. The exam is online only because of the pandemic. The moment the pandemic relaxes a little bit, we will revert to offline pen and paper center based exams all over India. Okay, so that is on the exam. The course, regardless of what the exam is, the course is offline. So all of you have to come to campus and stay on campus and study. In fact, currently the students are on campus, and all MA, all BA, BSc students, everybody is on campus and they're studying. Well, how will it help you get job in Gulf countries? Subrat, you want to take that?
I think, I mean, as of now, we don't have international organizations on campus offering any offshore positions. Yeah. So that part one has to try on his or her own. But I think we have a very valid program, like Sapna has explained. It's a defined program. It's a on-campus, valid, full-time, 2 years or PSC 4 years program, and the certificate is equally valued in India as well as foreign countries. Many of our students have gone to foreign countries for higher studies, and post that they have also got jobs there. Specific to golf or beyond golf, I have less information, but this certificate or this program is very valid to take you to any countries. Job search will be on your own.
Yeah, that is fair. And also, what I would like to tell to everybody who's listening is that this university is set up with a philanthropic intent of producing, more socially aware students, citizens who will contribute to a better India. In fact, all our course material, all our examples, everything is around India and India's situation, India's social welfare issues. So we are not actually actively encouraging our students to go abroad and work. Right? You're welcome to go and study and come back and serve India. Although we are not restricting, we are not stopping, we're not prescribing, but the underlying message is that India needs you. If we are educating you, then we need our own graduates and postgraduates to help us. Right? So that is, on that note, I think we've also come to the end of the session. We are done with an hour, and we've done with the questions. And this thing, there's a last question on what is the batch size. The batch size of MA education is anywhere between 150 to 200, right? And we will expand moving forward, but at the moment it is that, right? So, but there are good chances. If you're really interested and committed, you should apply, and you will then get in. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Subrat, for a very,
Pleasure.
very interesting talk and very enlightening answers to the questions asked. So thank you, and we will end now. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Sapna. Thank you, everybody.